When I woke up this morning, I looked out my backyard and I saw there was two anthills that were brand new that had popped up overnight, and I decided that I needed to go ahead and cast them. So what we're starting with here is just the beginning of the melt. This is my first time doing this, so the video isn't exactly great, but you at least get the idea of what's going on with the melt. And this is time lapse built into my camera, so it's not too bad. Um, had an issue with the camera overheating, and I had to end up changing angle, so that's why you see the angle change here. And then we jump into the actual pour, and you can see here as I pour over the anthill, slowly trying to get in there, and you start to see the smoke. And at some point while I'm pouring here, I actually start to notice that there's some overpour. It's coming out behind the anthill from the angle of the camera here. So what I do is once I finish the pour here, I go and I drop my crucible. Well, I put the crucible back into the furnace, and I spray off the overpour so it doesn't actually catch any of the grass on fire. Once I get the overpour sprayed off, I'll go ahead and grab my tongs and pick up some of that overpour, just to get it out of the way so I can move around a bit easier when I go to clean everything up here in a few minutes. So all the steam you're seeing here actually is coming from the molten metal, not from me actually quenching the aluminum pour. So as we let it keep on going, well, this is actually going a lot longer than I thought it was. Uh, so yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't set that grass on fire. So as you can see here, I'm picking up that overpour, which is actually quite a bit considering how big I thought that ant pile was. And then I come in and I start spraying down the ant hill. Noticed a lot of the smoke was gone, so started spraying it down and getting some of the dirt out of the way. Um, and I notice as I get closer to it that it actually seems to be moving. So I was trying to decide if I was actually going to go get a shovel and dig it up like you see a lot of people do, but I decided to go ahead and just spray it out and get down in there with my hands and try and clean up as much as possible. You will see as I start to get down here with my hands in a second that I start getting a little timid. I want to make sure that metal isn't too hot and that it isn't too molten still, where I can't touch it. Um, so start clearing out an area where I'm going to plan on touching it. You'll see me spray my feet a few times because there are some ants that got away and they started crawling on me and give me a few bites, but that happens. So as I get around the edges and try to make sure that that I actually have a clear path. So as I get into position here, I'll go ahead and get a little closer and start to touch it and make sure it's not too hot. I'm spraying off any ants that I see sitting around it, and then I'll go ahead and start clearing out some of the areas around the sides that are moving with the water, pretty easy to remove. Um, and as I spray it, I see it's moving, so I go, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and lift it up, and I take it and I flip it. Not sure how hot it is still, so I'm just kind of being fairly gentle with it, and I'll sit here and spray it off some more and clean off some more of that dirt that gets captured when you do this pour, and give it a couple seconds, and then you'll have uh, some pictures of the finished product here. Obviously, this needs a little bit more cleanup, but this is right after I finished washing it and on the grass. And then I move into the second ant hill here. And here I decided that instead of pouring into one spot, I'm going to kind of spread out the pour to try and get the whole general area of where I saw all that dirt come in. Um, and as I finish this up, you see some bubbling, and I'll go ahead and Selena's going to move as I put the crucible down, and she actually misses a lot of the quenching that I did, but you actually see a good close up here of what's happening as it actually settling and coming back down to ambient temperature. And then you'll see some pictures here of the finished pour on this one, as well as the pair of them sitting next to each other. It was a fun project, and I'm kind of glad that I did it.